Today I'm going to be showing you how I painted this short course body and mounted it to my Kraton V2. Hey, it's Vass here from Aussie RC Playground and welcome to another episode of RC Pit Stop. Now I know I'm not the first person to put in a different type of body on a Kraton. I've seen many different people out there doing various different adaptations of on-road cars, monster truck bodies, truggy bodies. I mean, all sorts of different bodies have been fitted to an ARRMA vehicle at some stage or another. And of course, when I decided to do the Beetle body, I actually had a little bit of a head start. I've just recently painted up a Beetle body for my Magique E5, and I'll show you guys some pictures as well of that. That was actually a crawler body made by Proline that has since been discontinued. I was so disappointed because I actually wanted to get another one or two of those bodies just to keep them here and have them as spare because it looks so good with that body on there, and I actually made it work really well, and coincidentally I also used some ARRMA body posts to make that work. But unfortunately when I went searching for it, it's been discontinued. It may still be available out there on eBay and some other sites, but it's just a little bit expensive to buy, and I don't know if it's worth me sort of investing that sort of money on such a small body for, you know, those sorts of trucks. I might need to seek alternatives. But in any case, I already had an idea of what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something for the Kraton. I wanted to use a Beetle body. I also Googled to see if I could find some images, and I found some images of some other people that have done, you know, this exact body on their Kraton, and I figured, yes, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Now, mounting it to the truck was the challenging part. At least I found it to be the challenging part, because the stock body posts that the Kraton comes with will never accommodate different bodies like this. They're non-adjustable. I'm hoping that in the future ARRMA will actually include adjustable posts on these trucks, because they have done that on the Outcast and the Notorious, as well as the Senton. And I think maybe the Italian may have the rear body post adjustable, and actually may have front and rear adjustable. I can't quite remember. So it's just a matter of time before the Kraton does as well, I think. So I found these particular mounts here that I had. I think these came out of my Notorious or my Outcast, one or the other, or they came out of both. So I managed to find a part for them. The part number for that will be in the video description as well, but I'll put it up on screen. It is AR320365. So you'll be able to get these mounts. Now, the only thing I don't know is if they come in a pair or you get a set of 4. That's the only thing I'm not entirely sure of, but you can probably Google that and find that for yourself. Now, the body posts themselves, if you don't have them, the part number you need is this guy here. So hopefully my camera will focus. There we go. AR320357 is the part number for these style of body posts. You get various different lengths, and you actually get 2 sets of this sort of like pivot style of body post, which is actually really handy for, you know, different types of bodies depending on the angle that you have. So I think some of the ARRMA cars already come with this style of post, which is really, really nice. I really like this this type of post, and of course, you know, you have different lengths, so you can adjust however high you want the bodies to fit, which is fantastic. So you get those 2 parts and you're pretty much set. Then you can sort of adjust it and make it fit however you want. That was it. That was really all it took for me to sort of figure this out and go, yep, this is how I want to do it. Now I've got the angled ones at the back that allow me to put it, because the back of the body is actually quite on a steep angle, as you can see there. So I had to use those. And on the front, I didn't feel the need to use the angled ones. I just used these kind of like smooth, sort of rounded ones. They have a really nice strong base, so they should support the body quite well. Of course, I also repaired the truck a little bit. After that last bash, my battery tray kind of ejected. I was going to buy a whole brand new battery tray, but what had actually broken and stripped out was the support that goes underneath the battery tray. And I happened to have a spare one of those. I can't remember how I had a spare one, but I had a spare one. So I kept the original tray and just replaced the support, mounted everything back up. She's good to go. My rear shock tower also had a bit of a bend in it. I removed that, hammered it on the concrete, make sure that it was straight, popped it back in here before I actually drilled for the body, and of course it's all good to go. Life is good and the car's fine. There's really no other damage to the car that happened on the day. My cables are sort of coming off a little bit here, but that's really about it. My servo is still good. ESC, motor, diffs, everything is still fine after that original bash that you guys would have seen. And of course it took such a massive hit on this rear bumper, and thankfully T-Bone Racing and of course GKA chassis braces, the hinge pin braces here, servo mount, all of that kind of kept everything together because I was really going all out with it and jumping it quite high. I couldn't take it on the big jumps. I really wanted to take it on those big jumps that I took my Outcast on, but because it had the water there, and the water was so smelly, like as soon as you got close to the water, it really stunk. I didn't want to bathe the truck in that water. So that's why I was a bit hesitant to go on those big jumps, because it would have eventually ended up splashing in the water. It would have been terrible. So I'm going to cut here real quickly. I'm going to show you the techniques that I've used to paint up this body. And yeah, hopefully you guys will draw a little bit of inspiration from this and go ahead and do your own paint scheme. Okay, so the first thing I like to do when I'm trying to decide what sort of color scheme I'm going to go for with a particular body is I try and go online and just Google for about an hour and just go down a bit of a rabbit hole and try to find paint scheme, racing paint schemes, try to find some kind of inspiration, something that looks good, similar to what I have, that's going to kind of trigger something in my head and go, yes, I want to do this color scheme, I want to try and do that. Maybe I'll add a little something extra. You'll put your own touch onto it and you know, come up with something that's quite unique, that it kind of takes your mood at the time. Maybe 6 months from now, this body, I'll look at it and go, why did I even do that? Why flames? They're so corny or whatever. But then 6 months from now, I'll go, you know what, I'm really proud of that. I'm glad I took the time to prepare the body and do all that cutting and everything, because it taught me a lot, and I was able to kind of improve on my skills. And that's one of the other things that you can do when painting up a body. Don't think that because it turns out crap or anything like that, you know, people are going to laugh at you, or you're going to be disappointed. Take it as a learning experience. Try and push your skills that little bit more every time you try and paint up a different style of body. And I think that kind of inspires people to sort of keep going in the hobby. Don't let yourself get down if you do make mistakes, because I'm going to show you some mistakes that I've actually made in this body. And it's something that, you know, I probably should have known by now, but I may have forgotten I did know it. And of course, you know, I made a mistake and I'm going to show it to you, and you guys are probably going to laugh at me anyway. So once you've figured out your color scheme, you start masking everything up. Now there's two different types of masking. I've used a lot of liquid mask in the past, especially if you're going to be doing, you know, things like this, right? This is the back motor section of this body that I had to cut out in order to make it fit inside the shock tower here. So I had to basically cut all of this out. So if I was going to mask this up and try to actually do different colors in here, or silvers and grays and blacks and all of this sort of thing, liquid mask would be the ideal kind of application for this, because trying to mask this up with masking tape, trying to get a flat surface to go around a curved area that curves in all types of different angles, it's going to be almost impossible to do. You're not going to be able to do that very well. So either leave it and just paint it up one color, or you know, let the stickers do the work, or use your liquid mask to do that sort of thing. But in this case here, a lot of it was clean lines and clean surface. And what I did is I actually used this type of tape. So this is a proper masking tape that you buy from hobby shops. It's a very nice sort of smooth tape. It doesn't have a very aggressive adhesive on it, but it does stick quite well to Lexan. And because it's not your typical sort of masking tape that you'd find, you know, down at the local hardware store, that's a little bit sort of abrasive, I don't know how you'd call it, this actually leaves really clean lines. So I'll bring this up to the camera, and hopefully you guys will see just how nice and clean this line, this dividing line is here. It's really, really nice. Very, very clean. Very little bleed anywhere. Of course, if you can get really good masking tape from the hardware store, you probably get the same sort of results. But otherwise, you would have something like this that would give you really, really nice clean lines all the way through, dividing two colors like that. So that actually turned out brilliantly. So that's what I used. Once I had that sort of masked out, I then used the bigger masking tape, you know, the nice wide one, and yeah, masked up the rest of the body. However, you know, it doesn't really matter. The only part that I really paid close attention to make sure that it was smooth was this section here where I was going to do this masking. Now you're going to see a little bit of a mistake here that I did with this, and you might pick up on it. So I'll bring this up close so you can see one little mistake there, and then you'll see that this bleeds out here, and it bleeds out there a little bit as well, and it's not 100% clean. Now the reason why these cuts are not 100% clean is because I was using normal hardware masking tape. All right, so that's why this kind of came out. Most of it's okay, but you can see that that there, for example, didn't come out 100% clean. Now this bleed here, this overlap of paint, is actually worse on this side. You'll see it here, so you see that. All right, so that is a result of this black is a solid black. It's not a metallic color. This gold, so this is actual Tamiya gold, is a metallic color, and metallic colors, for some reason, they kind of eat away at stock colors, non-metallic colors. So when I put my first layer of paint, when I was painting this, I didn't have anything blocking this out to get the fade. So the way I did the fade was just have the paint can kind of close to it, and just sort of start out here and then sort of come in, and just come in a little bit with the paint. So as you spray, you sort of come backwards a little bit to get the effect that you want. And when I did my first layer, I thought, okay, it's got a little bit of paint on there. I'll let it dry, let it sit. And I didn't let it sit for long enough. It was kind of dry to the touch. I should have dried it a little bit more rather than 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe I should have left it half an hour or an hour, and then come back to it and do another small layer, and just continue on like that. Do 3 or 4 layers so that I would have enough sort of weight here, and then of course it would fade out to the red over here. But what I did on my second paint, on my second coat, I went a little bit too heavy, and that was the result. I went a bit too heavy on my second coat, and it started to bleed out. So when I painted it, I didn't notice it. I put the body upside down to let it dry. When I got back to it, I went, oh crap, I've completely stuffed this up. So that was the end result, because I had the body upside down. Maybe if it was lying down flat like that, it would have been okay, I don't know. But ideally with metallic paints, you want to sort of take your time with it. Don't put too much of a heavy coat on there, otherwise that's going to be the end result. Now to get this type of effect, if you're wondering how I did all of this, once you've masked it, you go on the internet and you print out whatever pattern you want to print out. So if I want to do a flame drawing, I'll Google flame drawings, and then you can click on an image that pops up, and then that will take you to a whole bunch of other images that sort of relates to that one, and you can just keep searching. And when you find something that you like I did here, I'll click on it, save as into a particular folder on my computer, and then I'll put this into Word and scale it up however I want. I'll do a couple of test prints, because sometimes what you might think is big is not really. It only comes to there, and then you might think, oh yeah, this is big enough, and then it's too big, so you need to scale it down. So you might take a couple of different trial prints, and then once you have what you want and the size that you want, you need to mirror it so it looks like that. Okay, so that's how I printed them out, and then you just cut them out, position them on the body however you want, and essentially that's how that works. Now if you're going to be doing lettering, I've got lettering here. So I was actually going to do a sentence body once, and you would print this reversed as well. So lettering has, or a word always has to be printed in reverse, like so, because then when you put it onto a piece of Lexan, so this is you know, you've masked it on the inside, you put this on the outside, all right, and then you cut it out. When you flip it over, it'll be the right way around. So hopefully that camera can pick that up. Okay, so that's why you need to print it in reverse, in case you're wondering. So your masking is like that. You get your X-Acto knife, you cut everything around on the body. Sometimes it's really awkward to do. You peel out the edges that you want to peel out, and then of course, voila, it comes out like so. You know, you do, like when I did this, I had all of the red masked up, including the center flame here was all masked, and the only ones that were showing was I'd peeled away the masking on all the black, and this was obviously all black, and I just had the window masks on, and then I just painted everything black. That's how I did it. Once that was done, I peeled off this section first. So I left everything else, all the red was still all masked up, and I started painting the gold. And then of course, once the gold was done, I removed the rest of the masking tape all the way around and then painted the red, and that was the end result. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Also, you saw that I've got, you know, offcuts of different bodies. It's always good to keep your offcuts. I've got a whole box full of different offcuts for bodies, because when you want to experiment with different paints, you can sort of try different colors to see how they look. If you're not sure if this color is what you want, or if this color is going to look good with that color, this is always something good to sort of hold on to. Keep your offcuts, use them as little practice pieces or trial pieces to see if the colors actually work well together and all that sort of thing. So that's how I mounted the body to the Kraton. That's how I painted the body for the Kraton. Of course, I still want to paint the Proline Kraton body. I've also ordered a J Concepts body for the Kraton as well, so I'm kind of going to be doing both. I want to see how they sort of compare to each other. I'm still waiting to get the 500 likes on the previous video that I did, the big torture test of this truck. If it's not a 500 likes yet, check the video description, you know, go have a look at it. If you haven't seen it, hit that like button, because once I get the 500 likes, I'll be buying the Proline body for the Kraton. I may actually get both, because there's the Brute body, which is the white one, and then there's the clear one. So the clear one I kind of want to dedicate to ARRMA, so I want to put like a bunch of ARRMA logos and do something really cool. And then the white one will just be white, I suppose, because I've actually seen what those bodies look like, and they're not white, they're not painted white. The plastic itself is white. You can't really paint those bodies there. They're just, but they're super durable. At least they look super durable, and I'm very much looking forward to it. But anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. Hopefully this information was helpful to you. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. Hopefully this has inspired you to go out and maybe paint your own body, maybe try something a little bit different, you know, push your skill level a little bit, and just keep trying. You know, don't be scared to experiment a little bit, and just take your time. Don't do what I did, because I was rushing a little bit with the gold. This would have looked really, really good if I hadn't blared out right at the end. So just be mindful when mixing metallic colors with standard colors. Let them dry properly, take your time with it, and hopefully life will be good for you. That is it from me, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and as always, check out the video description for more information on the truck, as well as links to my social media pages. Thank you again, and I'll speak to you all next time.